Richmond is under the lights this weekend and the playoff clock is ticking. I've got everything you need to know. Plus, we're going to talk about some Q next on Racin-n-Braisin. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ, a lifelong NASCAR fan and chef, bringing you news and analysis from each race weekend, as well as a few tips and tricks from my kitchen to yours. Today we have got a packed one. We're going to get ready for the racing in Richmond this weekend. We'll catch up on the news of the week. We'll give you the schedule for the weekend plus a weather forecast. We'll also talk about what to know about the track, who to watch, and what the playoff implications could mean this weekend. And we'll finally wrap things off with a quick talk about what is going to be on my plate this weekend. So let's dive right on into it. First up, Connor Zilisch. Well, as you guys know, he had collarbone surgery this week to repair that broken collarbone from his nasty fall. He was on door bumper clear earlier this weekend and is definitely in good spirits. He was joking around with the host, and the host could barely contain themselves as they were going through the podcast, hinting constantly at his upcoming announcement, obviously, for the Cup ride at Trackhouse. That could be coming any day now. It sounded like it was scheduled for some time this week. As of the recording of this Thursday morning, I haven't heard anything yet, but fully expecting that one to be coming up. The guys on door bumper clear cannot keep a secret, that's for sure. Regarding his injury and his post-race celebration, NASCAR has said that they're not going to hand down any sort of rulings as far as celebrations go. No restrictions on getting on the car or anything like that. However, they are going to pay closer attention to where that window net is before a driver climbs out. Also in the headlines this week, Spire Motorsports is making some moves in the truck series. A busy, silly season already with the trucks, as we've seen some major driver moves. This week, Spire announced that they are going to cut out the '07 truck for the remainder of the season, transfer all of the owner points from that truck over to their number 77 truck, which will now be piloted by Corey LaJoie for the remainder of the season. Like I said, we've seen a lot of shakeups with the truck series and seats here in the past couple of weeks. That's going to be a continuing story that we'll keep an eye on going forward. Well, speaking of trucks, they'll be on track this weekend at Richmond along with the Cup Series, a two-day show, Friday and Saturday. The Cup practice will be Friday afternoon at 4:30 on True TV. The truck race, 7:30. The main event will be Saturday night at 7:30. Coverage begins at 7 on USA. The weather this weekend is looking like a typical summer evening for Virginia and the Richmond area. There's going to be a chance of thunderstorms, very warm during the day, down into the 70s during the evening once they get under the lights, if they can get under the lights. The chance for rain has fluctuated throughout the week, and right now sitting at about 20% for evening showers. So we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. They might have to finish things off on Sunday. Now, Richmond might be a short track, but it definitely has huge personality, and we've seen a lot of things happen there. It's got quite the history, been around since the 50s. Only 3 active drivers have ever won from the pole there: Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Denny Hamlin. And speaking of Busch, that man started back in 32nd in 2018 and was able to win the race at Richmond. That's the furthest back anybody has ever started at the track to be able to capture a win, which means it is one of the rare tracks where you can actually start in the back and get it done. We've seen 13 different drivers win a race from outside the top 20 in Richmond's history. Mr. Consistency at this track has been Christopher Bell. He's got an average finish over 9 starts of just over 7th place. Denny Hamlin has the most top 5s among active drivers at Richmond, and Kyle Busch has the most top 10s among active drivers. And if you're looking at the next-gen era specifically, Hamlin, Bell, Larson, Barry, Logano, and Elliott all have top 10 average finishing positions here at Richmond, so they'll definitely be ones to watch as we go into the weekend. Last summer, when we closed things out and Austin Dillon got that wild win at the end, there were only 3 cautions, a very quick race, but a lot of long green flag action, and it actually resulted in 26 lead changes because of all of the different strategies that were going on during the green flag cycles. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Richmond definitely not known for cautions, except on the rare occasion. So we're definitely expecting green flag runs here this weekend. Tire wear is going to be very important, and those that can manage tires best are going to be the ones to watch. So let's talk about who we're going to be watching this weekend. Vegas says obviously the favorites this weekend are going to be Hamlin, Bell, and Larson, and even Byron up there for sure. No shock there. They're all really good at short tracks. However, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Briscoe, Blaney, and Buescher this weekend. Of course, do not sleep on Kyle Busch this weekend. He's got the best average finish for a track at Richmond. It's one of his favorite places to go. Bubba Wallace has 4 straight top 10s, including a 4th place. Ryan Preece has been sneaky confident lately with 11 top 15s in the last 13 races, and he's on that playoff bubble. So he's going to be looking for a really strong points night, if not a win this weekend. So he's definitely going to be on my radar as we hit practice tomorrow afternoon. So speaking of playoffs, obviously we're down to our last 2 races before the playoffs begin, and this race in particular is going to be considered one of the more important ones and less reliant on luck like Daytona will be next week. Tyler Reddick could secure his playoff spot this weekend with a decent finish. He's just got to get the points. He has to remain above 61 points to the good to be able to clinch this weekend. Obviously, if we get a new winner, that's going to throw everything into chaos and move the playoff cut line up a little bit. Buescher won this race last year. It was his 2nd in a row last season, and he could certainly pull it off again here, and that, of course, would move Bowman to the cutoff line. Big shakeups are in store. We'll be keeping a close eye on that as the race concludes. And as for the Braisin part of this episode, let's talk about some barbecue. I did a little bit of research to find out what was different about Virginia barbecue versus Carolina barbecue, where I'm currently in. And I found out it's not as tangy and vinegary as it does have vinegar in its sauce, but it's more of a tomato-based sauce. Not so heavy on the sweet side for sure, still has that tanginess to it, but not as strong as what a Carolina barbecue would be. So I'm going to play around with some sauce this weekend, and I think I'm going to put it on some pork shoulder and do some low and slow, get that nice and tender, and add that sauce in there at the end. Let me know what your favorite barbecue sauce and what your favorite protein to put it on is down in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing around here, guys, please be sure to leave a like. Go ahead and comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. All of that helps me out. I'm about to hit 100 subscribers, and I truly appreciate all of your help. Help me get there here nice and quick so we can continue to grow this channel. So that's going to do it for this episode of Racin'-n'-Braisin'. We've got all caught up on what we need to know for the weekend ahead. I'm looking forward to this race. We'll catch up with each other after the race, either Saturday night or Sunday morning, because I know my butt is going to be tired after a long Saturday of work and racing. Until then, guys, I will catch you all later. Stay happy.